It's been a long journey. Anything new, people are skeptical, and we're journalists, as we should be.
Hey friends, Ron Jones here, and today I'm joined by someone leading the charge into the future of journalism. Denisha Thomas, news director at 11 Alive here in Atlanta, is with me to talk about how our newsroom is now embracing AI, not to replace journalists, but to empower them. So let's get started.
All right, so let's get to the good stuff. So what is the biggest advantage of using AI in the newsroom?
I think honestly, because we are doing so much a longer period of time and we don't have nearly as many people from a script writing standpoint, especially as we look to get more news into our newscast. As a former producer, I remember what it was like to try and go back and concise and make a script and self-edit. Our producers really don't have that much of the time to go back and read and like, what would Ron say or how would so-and-so say? So really, I'm seeing a lot of our producers benefit from using it to make their scripts more clear, more concise, and more direct to the point.
All right, so when it comes to the workflow in the newsroom, whether it's reporters, producers, or the digital team, how has AI affected the workflow? Has it enhanced it?
I think it absolutely has changed their workflow. One of the things that I learned from another news director that I shared with our reporters here is perplexity. So good, so great to start thinking about what are the angles from stories that we're missing. It does a great job of pulling in those ideas or pulling in those different agendas and saying, okay, so what would someone in Atlanta care about this agenda, and doing a great job of that. Obviously, we still have to do our own research, but I love Perplexity for the simple fact that it has the sources. So you're not just out there trusting a chatbot to write it for yourself, but you can actually go in and do a deeper dive. Like I said, for the producers, it's a great writing assistant. You always talk about how AI should be treated like our intern. If in all the years that I was producing, I had a writer to help me write stories, I would have taken full advantage of it. And so I think it does a great job of helping our reporters do that.
Now, you're one of the gatekeepers when it comes to hiring in the newsroom. Do you expect these candidates to know something about AI, have used AI? Is that part of the discussion during that interview process?
It is actually. It is something that is obviously top of mind for us as a company. And I talk a lot about how we're using, and then I ask those questions about how do you actually feel about AI? Right? Because if you're kind of skeptical of it at this point, and maybe the skepticism is because you haven't used it, or really you're just a true skeptic of it, then that probably makes you this may not be the right newsroom for you, because we really do encourage people to use it as a tool. We acknowledge that we're asking everyone to do more. Heck, I'm doing more. And we all want to work smarter, not harder. And AI really does help us to do that.
You know, there's some journalists out there that are really concerned about AI taking their jobs. How do you address those concerns in the newsroom?
We have gone through the changes of technology as an industry each and every time. Each generation has experienced something different, right? We went from typewriters to computers. We went from newspapers and having to call sources to the internet. And now we have AI. Those things don't change the need for the human, but the humans that are able to use those tools as a resource, as a tool to really help them be more efficient and effective at their job, are the ones that are going to remain. Will there be fewer jobs? Well, you got to look at it from a business standpoint. We're not making the same kind of money that we used to. However, if you are finding a way to be more efficient and being more effective, and AI is the way that you're doing that, why wouldn't an employer use you? Why wouldn't an employer keep you around? Because you're more valuable because you have found ways to maximize your time, and AI is helping you do that.
Well, I really appreciate you getting on here for AI Tools for Journalists, but any final words, any words of wisdom when it comes to AI?
Yeah, so again, yes, it's scary. Change is scary for sure, and AI brings a different kind of change to our business, our industry, and we are seeing it change rapidly all the time. However, how I've preached it to folks is, wouldn't you rather be on the side of helping to decide how we use it instead of on the side of where it's being dictated to you? So don't be afraid to try it. There's so many things that I've learned from the team because they were willing to give it a shot. They were skeptical for sure. I was skeptical. But there's so many things that we've now been able to share with each other. There's so many podcasts, so many YouTube videos, so many everything that's out there that can give you a little bit more insight on how to use it. Because at the end of the day, we're here to tell people stories, and people are not going to tell stories to AI. They're going to tell stories to us. So how do we use AI to help tell their stories to the masses?
That's just the beginning of the conversation. Now, we're not claiming to have all the answers, but we are asking the right questions, and that's where you come in. If you're in the business and wrestling with the idea of AI, or you're already running it within your own newsroom, I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep this dialogue, let's keep this conversation going. Message me directly on LinkedIn at Ron Jones Reports, and let's build a community of forward-thinking journalists navigating this new frontier together called AI.